Stephanie.
Uh, hi everyone. Thank you, GOPIO International, for inviting me to this webinar series. I am Stephanie D. I'm an immigration attorney with the Parikh Law Group. We're a boutique-sized law firm in Chicago. Um, because the principal attorney in our firm is American Indian. Of Indian origin. So a good portion of our clients are people of Indian origin or have ties to India. Personally, I handle a lot of employment based visas or immigrant petitions relating to employment, but I also do a family based as well in my volunteer time. Our firm, we do student visas, employment visas, and others such as bringing outstanding persons in the sciences, in the arts, or in sports. And most recently, one of my more interesting cases that I had fun doing with was bringing in a Gujarati playback singer and his group of musicians in their North American tour. And This is their third annual tour, so that was always fun to work with. Today I will talk very briefly on the effect of the Trump administration's immigration policies on visa categories which are widely used by the community as a whole, such as like the student visa and of course the employment authorizing visas like the H-1B, the L-1s, TNs, and the more entrepreneurial E-1, E-2 visas. And I'll just speak about them in broad strokes and just like encompassing and lumping them together. In his second administration, Donald Trump acted quickly on his campaign promise to focus on immigration, including aggressively pursuing removal of non citizens, pressuring states and localities to cooperate in immigration enforcement, limiting access to humanitarian forms of relief, and closing the southern border, to name just a few. Through a series of his executive orders, policy memoranda, and other action, the administration is taking major steps to reshape immigration policy and practice. So, just to highlight a few, there are a few EOs, but there are EOs which direct the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State to implement enhanced vetting for visa applicants as well as those who are already in the country. And in fact, directs all agencies to be thorough in the vetting process during the visa issuing process. There's also like securing in as part of the EOs in securing the southern border. For instance, there are measures to use technologies to determine the validity, for instance, of familial relationships, and that will affect not just like people from Mexico who are traveling into the United States, but visitors who are entering through the southern border. There's also a directive to review existing trade agreements, not just the CUSMA or the former NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement, but the president has directed a review of existing trade agreements, and as far as, for instance, those holding TN visas for the people from Canada, um, where a lot of people are people of Indian origin. Those may be affected as well as E1 visas, E2s, E3s, and H1B1s. Although India may not be a treaty country with the U.S., but then the diaspora has caused like a lot of people of Indian origin to hold citizenships from these countries, like Canada, Australia, um, Singapore, and the UK. So any shift in immigration policy, certainly when the shift is this seismic and this significant, is going to impact Indians or people of Indian origins. In 2024, U.S. Mission India has broke records for the second year in a row by issuing more than 1 million visas, non-immigrant visas, which underscores the huge demand of Indians who travel to the U.S., whether it's for visiting, for tourism, for employment, or for education. India is a top center of international students. both at the undergrad and graduate level. And of course, the H-1B, the current figures are showing that the currently 75% of H-1B visa holders are Indian nationals. And a large part of that is like what David and the previous and Thomas have discussed, that because the green card, or people who can actually immigrate, is determined, the US framework is that it is determined by your country of birth. So because of that, regardless of their acquiring or being in other uh, acquiring other citizenships, they're still lumped under the quota of India. So that puts a lot of, because there's a hold on them getting the green cards, then they have to stay in the H-1B visas for a longer time. So a lot the popular visas that people of India origin hold, I'm sure you're familiar with. There's the E1, E2 visas, which is for people from treaty countries to establish and run businesses in the US. There's no numerical cap for this. So it's an attractive option for those to bring for people who want to bring in capital and run their business in the US. It's renewable for as long as the business continues to run. There's the H-1B, which is a popular option for workers in specialty occupations. That these are job positions that require at least a bachelor's degree in a specific field, and this is particularly popular for India because of their pool of talent in tech and healthcare. There's the L1 for intercompany transfers of executives or senior managerial individuals, or those with specialized knowledge between related companies. And this is usually popular because, as the Indian economy is booming, and people are moving out as well and expanding their business across borders. There's also the TN visas, which are reserved for Canadian nationals in Mexico. These are limited to a number of professions, but a lot of the professions are popular among people of Indian origin. So this would be like computer-related positions, graphic designers, lawyers, and people in the medical professions, OTs, PTs, nurses, and teaching physicians as well. So these visas generally will be impacted by the broader America First policy of Trump. So we will see where I certainly foresee that there will be stricter vetting processes, and they're already in place. It will take longer to process, and there will be higher denial rates. H1B1, H1s, L1s, and green card petitions will be facing stricter vetting, including more RFEs. And I certainly have seen more of this, checking the qualifications, checking the requirements of the job, even issuing second RFEs just for fingerprinting. This is all part of the vetting process. They will scrutinize for the jobs, salaries, the locations. There will be more site visits. Those who travel into and outside the United States are likely to encounter greater scrutiny at the ports of entries. There will be challenges to renewals and extensions, and dependents, of course, when they travel, they will always have to make sure that they bring also proof of their relationship to the principal visa holder. The stricter visa policies will require employers and the HR, as well as the foreign workers themselves, to be vigilant in their roles. Employers are experiencing, they should be more mindful and proactive when conducting workforce planning. For instance, they should develop tracking systems, auditing your policies with respect to worker visa and green card sponsorship. You might want to start earlier rather than later. Then you also have to put more risk management policies in place, like plan out different scenarios for when the worker, for instance, is denied entry, or if the visa petition is actually denied. So what are your alternatives? You have to put those in place. The employers and their HR should be more of an immigration expert in a way, or at least should collaborate more closely with your immigration attorney, and just shift from being reactive to more proactive, meticulously tracking visa expirations and reminding the foreign workers that they should be responsible for their deadlines or the expiration dates. I foresee that there will be employer hesitation to hire. There will be some employer hesitation to hire foreign workers as they face more regulatory, and compliance risks in hiring foreign workers. This may discourage them from hiring H-1B workers, for instance, and that may impact in the longer term technology and healthcare industries. It could possibly lead to talent shortages, and companies may possibly invest more in domestic talent development or consider relocating to countries with more favorable immigration policies, which ironically will be detrimental to U.S. workers, to the U.S. workers that this administration wants to protect. So, one particular visa that I just personally, I don't know if David has a different experience with regards to, is that the E2 doesn't seem to be impacted as much. But that probably is because the E2s are, in investment, business, and investment friendly visas. There's no direct path to a green card, and therefore it seems like there probably will be closer scrutiny, and I do see a little bit of that, but I have not seen an outright increase in rejection. Whether that will change in the future, I do not know. And then finally, one small point is with regards to Trump's efforts to change the birthright citizen, to remove birthright citizenship. Of course, that has been placed on hold, but bearing in mind, but because that this executive order will impact, for instance, not non-immigrant visas holders. So if there's a couple who are, for instance, on H-1B, both of them are on H1 and H4, or L1 and L2, then their kids, if born, they will not be U.S. citizens. So that closes one additional avenue towards immigration. So that's basically what I summarizing with regards to the new EOs and policy changes brought over by Trump.